Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I honestly really don't want to make a video about this. I mean, I do want to make a video about this because I want to talk about it, but I wish that this wasn't something that I was talking about right now, but it needs to be said, and it's just absolutely fucking annoying as hell. And I want to talk about it because I feel like I have a lot of fair points here as an autistic Sonic fan, and obviously the criticism will not be taken seriously because of course it won't, but yeah, no, let's just get into it. So earlier today I posted a video sharing my honest thoughts on a new Sonic gameplay trailer. I'm personally very excited for the game. However, a lot of people were disappointed with the footage that they saw. They didn't think it was going to be very good. They were disappointed, and there were a lot of debates being sparked on Twitter. And there's consistently debates about characterization, about what games are good and bad, about Archie versus IDW comics, just a whole bunch of debates that go on Sonic Twitter. And honestly, it's very annoying. Now, as long as people are civil and express differences of opinion in a civil way, it's fine, but sometimes things get out of hand. People will start saying some stuff that's not so great, and, it can devolve into chaos, and that's how most large Twitter communities are. Now, like I said, I've seen my timeline kind of blowing up today because of this new footage of Sonic Frontiers. So, I must discuss this. I just want to get straight into it. So, Ken Penders. So, for those who don't know who Ken Penders is, good. I wish I was like you, and I recommend that you click off this video right now to save your poor virgin ears. But if you're still here, Ken Penders was a writer for Archie Comics. He wrote a lot of the Sonic comics in the mid to late 90s through early 2000s. He wrote the Knuckles side comic, so he's basically well known for two things. One, his obsession with Knuckles' family tree, and two, his trigger-happy reactions where he likes to sue people. Basically, he sued Archie because he thought, because they weren't giving him royalties, and they alleged that he didn't, he said he never signed a contract, and then they couldn't find the contract, and the whole situation was just a mess. It was kind of settled in a stalemate because Sega didn't show up to the court hearing. So basically, he ends up with rights to all these original characters, and then Archie, couldn't keep using them, even though he allegedly signed work for hire. So essentially, he likes to sue people over things. He wanted to sue BioWare because he thought Sonic Chronicles was too similar to his own ideas. He wants to sue Paramount because Knuckles has a father in the movie, and the father's never explained to be Locke, and people are saying that it's based on the Sonic Adventure characters, and that's what the movie based it off of, the Sonic Adventure backstory. But Ken Penders is insistent that this character is Locke, and he wants to sue Paramount over it. So basically, he's trigger happy. He likes to sue people over things, some of which I can understand when things are stolen, like the whole Nocturnus clan was that's a stolen idea from the BioWare thing. But he goes very far with it. He insists he owns characters, like he owns Scourge because he created Evil Sonic, that he says he owns Shade because he thinks Shade is a ripoff of Julie Sue, who's his original character, just because she's an echidna who defected from her tribe. That's really the only similarity. But yeah, he likes to get into arguments with people about ownership of characters and such. And generally, he's just known as being a very toxic person. He's quite hypocritical. He's made NFTs of his original characters. And a lot of the characters are like Knuckles reskins, but when other characters in other Sonic media look like his characters, then he accuses them of copying. But he copied the original canon characters. So again, this is why a lot of people don't like him. I'm not trying to, like, influence, you know, an opinion off of that alone. You know, if this was just stuff about decade-old lawsuits, I wouldn't be here. Ken Penders has done and said quite a lot of inflammatory things, related and non-related to Sonic the Hedgehog. One of the most famous incidents was him saying that his character, Jeffrey St. John, who was age 20, took the virginity of Sally Acorn, who was age 16 at the time. That his other character, Laura Sue, is 16, and yes, she's had sex. So, and he justifies this by saying it's legal in some states, and he went off the rails by saying, well, a 13 and a 19-year-old can get married in some states, and, like, this whole thing is just, like, really uncomfortable. He has a really weird view towards basically fetishizing underage, like, 16-year-old girls in his work. He is acephobic. He said in a tweet one time that basically, straight, gay, bi, anything's better than asexual. He likes to use topical issues to promote his own work. He said he was upset that of a situation that was happening in Ukraine because he had people in Ukraine working on his book. Just recently, with the tragic school shooting in Texas, he said, he made a whole tweet where he's like, well, this is why I didn't have guns in my Sonic comic. This is why their society doesn't have guns. And it's just so incredibly tasteless. He's obsessed with what he used to be in charge of. He hasn't made anything in years. He hasn't been hired by any major company in years. This guy is just pathetic, but here we are with what happened today, and oh boy, I'm pretty angry. So essentially, what he woke up this morning and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be ableist today." Like, I've done the whole thing, you know. I've been performative, like he acts like he supports gay people. Maybe he does, but then he says asexual is bad. It's like, support all sexualities, my guy. Like, it's just one of those things, you know. He's been performative. He's woken up. He's tried to, use a school shooting to discuss his work. He's used the Ukraine invasion to discuss his work. So whenever Ken Penders wakes up and decides to tweet something, it's usually not a good thing. But in this case, what he decided to say, this is actually yesterday at 2:45 a.m. I don't know what he was doing awake at 2:45 a.m. I think this would have been before the original, Frontiers footage drop, but I think a lot of, people were already talking about it, and now we're seeing all the mixed reactions to it. Again, I don't know why he was tweeting at 2:45 in the morning. Listen, I don't judge. Okay, it does say he was in Los Angeles. So that must mean that maybe that's 2:45 my time, because I'm on the East Coast. Anyways, I digress. So essentially, the tweet reads, "I'm convinced a lot of so-called toxicity of Sonic fandom is the result of a lot of autistic fans trying to express themselves and not sure how to respond when discussion veers into a disagreeable direction. It's an aspect of fandom no one wants to acknowledge, but is needed." Now, okay, there's so much to unpack. So essentially, what he is saying, and the way Ken talks is he talks like, I am a journalist on a 10th grade reading level. Like, the way he talks, he uses big words, he uses these long sentences he's like, it's so annoying. Like, he doesn't talk like a normal person. He acts like he's superior. He sounds like a politician. Like, I don't have any better way to describe it. It's just crazy. But anyway, that aside, basically, to put this into layman's terms, what he seems to be saying is that he thinks there's a lot of toxicity in the fandom because there are autistic fans who don't know how to express themselves, and then end up getting angry or getting worked up because they don't know how to express what they're saying. Now, I understand the point of saying it's an aspect of fandom no one wants to acknowledge, but it's needed. I understand the point of saying, people need to acknowledge that there's a lot of communication errors that can occur over the internet, which can lead to misunderstandings, which can lead to people getting upset. And it happens, those are exacerbated, those issues, when you're dealing with neurodivergent people, because, people don't always understand. I know for myself, I have a very hard time understanding the tone of things, or what if people are being sarcastic or not when it's on the internet, and I can get offended by things. Usually, if it's explained to me calmly, then I'll realize, that wasn't the intent, and I will apologize. It's a misunderstanding. So yeah, in that regard, yes. And also just like the fact that lots of autistic fans are out there and they're just trying to express themselves, and people who make things that, you might think of as cringy. Like, oh, I made cringy fan art. Like, don't be disrespectful to those people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, just let people, if somebody has an opinion you disagree with, and they're like very passionate about it, it might be because they're autistic and they're very passionate about what they like, and, being needlessly harsh or rude, if you disagree with something, that's fine, but being needlessly harsh or rude, or trying to tell them that they're wrong, is disrespectful. And, I think acknowledging that there's a lot of autistic people in fandoms, and, working around those issues that might come up is very valid. However, the way that this is phrased implies that autistic fans trying to express themselves is causing the toxicity. So essentially, people don't understand each other, they start yelling and screaming, and then toxicity. And, the way this read to me was him saying that autistic people are toxic, which, of course, autistic people are plenty capable of being toxic. Anyone is capable of being toxic, regardless of anything. If you're male, female, non-binary, you have Down syndrome, if you're gay, if you're Muslim, you're capable of being toxic. It doesn't matter who you are. But there's nothing that says autistic people are more likely to be, air quotes, toxic. Like, first of all, there's not even a solid definition of what a toxic person is, because, in real life, there's you have a toxic relationship, but it's when it's online, it's like, what do you consider a toxic person? Is it someone who disagrees with you? Is it someone who's spewing slurs at somebody? Like, there are so many ways you could define the word toxic. And again, I just don't understand what he really thought he did something here. And I just, I'm sorry, you're making autistic people look bad. And you're making autistic fans look bad. And we already have a bad enough reputation with, cringe culture and stuff, where people get mad at people for doing things that they deem as cringy. And a lot of those people are just neurodivergent kids trying to express themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, the problem here is people saying this stuff. Now, just for reference, I want to give you the stats on this tweet. That this has 25 retweets and it has 92 likes. So, 92 likes, okay? But the quote tweet is 895 quote tweets. So, yeah. I don't think this was received very well. So he tried to clear this up. So he tried to clear up this situation, honestly, and it's just not cool. So this person replied saying, I know you did not just say that autistic people bring toxicity in the franchise. And he said, allow me to clarify, being autistic doesn't mean one brings toxicity to the discussion. The toxicity arises from the miscommunication, resulting from a lack of clarity that occurs during the discussion, as nuance is not so easily discernible when confronted by black and white text. Yes, Ken, that is true. Nuance is not easily discernible, but people do not need to resort to toxicity because they do not understand someone. And if you're civil and polite, if I, for instance, take something the wrong way and someone says, oh, you took that the wrong way, that's not what I meant, I will say, oh, I'm sorry, I understand now. It's simple. You can work this out without being toxic. Misunderstandings do not result in shouting matches. That's not how that works. No. Keeps going, and then he tweets stuff about politics, which I genuinely don't care about. So it keeps going. So somebody replied, Ken Penders discriminates against autistics. He replied, that is an outright lie, and I have no problem whatsoever calling you out on this. A perfect example of trolling. Now listen, whether or not it's true, like, okay, so even if Ken Penders genuinely did not mean what he said, if he phrased it wrong, whatever, the best action would be to apologize for the misunderstanding and delete the tweet. The tweet is still up. And just to clarify, he is incredibly bad at taking criticism. That's just a fact. So the tweet is still up, and, so even if he wasn't trying to discriminate against autistics, the fact that it read that way, what he should say, instead of defending himself and being like, this is a lie, he should say, I see now, how that came across, I'm gonna, delete the tweet and then explain what you meant. Like, this is not a normal response to this. Unfortunately, it is normal for Ken Penders. He said, this person replied, there's no he, I don't know the gender of this person, but this person replied, you're using autism as an insult. Penders replied, exactly how? I am not laying blame or being insulting. And if the subject matter bothers you, why not state what the root cause is of your discomfort? Honestly, the way Penders talks, it's just gaslighting. Like, it's just straight up gaslighting. He's telling people, oh, that's not what I said. I said this different thing. You just don't understand. This is gaslighting. It's bad. Don't do it. It continues with this user saying, I'm autistic and was diagnosed at 2 years old and had to work hard to become a functioning adult. Penders says, and you think I'm attacking those who are autistic? You make my point. I suspect you of being an autistic, and now you confirm it. I'm looking for more productive dialogue with the fans, not to vilify them. I'd also like to encourage the fans to be more tolerant and listen rather than trying to get the last word in. So it gets worse, because he basically says, I suspected you for being autistic, and then earlier said that this person was trolling, which they aren't. They were legitimately reacting, saying something based on what he said. Now, again, this is just very weird to me, because he says, you think I'm attacking those who are autistic, and then says, well, I think you were autistic. I suspected you were autistic. You're proving my point, because you didn't understand what I said. No, bitch. They did understand what you said. And what you said was that autistic people make the fandom toxic. It continues. So, there's replies to this. Somebody said, so why even point out they're autistic then? Seems like an irrelevant point. If all that matters is a productive convo, just ignore the unproductive ones and maybe don't assume people are autistic. Yeah? Like, the inherent value of having conversations that don't go well and assuming people are autistic just because they can't communicate properly, in your opinion, is really stupid, because some people are just idiots. Some people can't communicate because they're fucking idiots, and they don't care, and they just say dumbass shit. And like you, Penders. But the point is that not everyone who has trouble communicating or who allegedly is a troll is autistic, and assuming that is ableist, because you're assuming that autistic people either cannot communicate properly or that they're trolls. And again, there's a wide spectrum of people who, have different levels of ability to communicate, and also assuming people are trolling assumes that these people are toxic. Somebody said, Do you really not see how bad this looks? Somebody else said, you really don't see how you're being a bully here? And then they said, yes, you are. So, yeah, it gets worse. So this person again replied, we autistics have to face challenges that you don't understand. Penders says, you're right, I don't, but I'm making an effort to learn and understand. I can't do that if I simply think someone is simply being a jerk or a troll when there's more to the story in person. Well then why are you... Why do you think it's okay to, you know, saying, well, I think people are being trolls. If you think people are being trolls or jerks, and then you assume that those same people are autistic, you see how bad this looks, Penders? Like, I'm sorry, what? I don't know why this person went on to post their art. I'm not gonna, comment on that. But that's beside the point. So he made another tweet saying, I'm really touched by the number of autistic fans who've contacted me in recent days, despite communication difficulties, that I was moved to comment that we all need to listen more to each other to overcome these challenges. I'm far from perfect, but I'm trying. I'm sorry. So he was saying, oh, so many autistic people reached out to me despite communication errors, and I'm really proud of them. They're precious beings, and you know, they were able to overcome challenging communication error. Woohoo! And then he says, you know, I had to talk about this. No, what you said was autistic people reached out to you, and then you proceeded to say that they were, you know, stupid or that they're trolls, and that's how the implication comes across, because you're saying like, oh, the autistic people who reached out to me are nice, but everyone else sucks. Everyone who criticized me is autistic and also a troll. And I want to be very clear here. You know, let's say that these people who reached out to him are legitimate fans, and that's fine. I'm not judging that. It's just a matter of, you know, say if these people are legitimate fans. Just imagine if you reach out to an artist or somebody you're a fan of their work, and you say something about how much you look up to them, how much their work inspires you, you know, you say, and you mention that you're autistic, and then he goes behind your back and he fucking says the statement. It's just imagine how fucking harmful that is. And of course, this one account for LAC defending him is still defending him. I don't personally care. So somebody made a very valid point. They said, "Prove you're improving. Delete that other shit right now." Somebody said, "No, you're not." Somebody said, "You deserve every bit of criticism you got over the last day." Somebody said, "You sure?" Somebody said, as an autistic person, I will say that your original tweet was 100% accurate. Okay, no. This person, you don't speak for everyone. Trying to be worse. He keeps going. Ken penis lol. Oof. 99% of the comments on the tweet were people telling you that your words were nasty, harmful, and vile. Bullshit. Yeah, it just keeps going. And then somebody said, whatever you say, and they posted the thing about Sally losing her virginity. Okay. I think this is just another troll account. Like, this person actually is a troll and like a hate account for Penders. Like, I know who this person is. Bull fucking shit. You got called out and now you're trying to cover your ass when it's already been blown half off. And I'm sorry, there are people here who are trying to say, well, I don't think he's understanding it properly, but give him the benefit of the doubt, give him time to figure it out. It's like, no, I'm sorry. The way that came across is so fucked up. And any sane person reading that knows it's fucked up. Somebody said, don't lie, Ken. That tweet was absolutely vile, and this tweet is about as bad as a racist saying, I have a black friend who said it's okay, so I won't apologize. You're a vile human being that can't even apologize for negative outbursts. Yeah, no shit. So this person retweeted the original tweet and said, you literally created official fanfics for Archie Comics where Sonic cucked Tails, Charmy Bee overdoses on LSD, and Knuckles species create an actual Nazi movement, but say that autistic fans are the problem. Yeah, so he said, I'm surprised at your response. You're looking for acceptance, and all you see is me casting blame when that's not the case. You resort to insults and live up to the stereotype when I'm seeking an honest engagement and understanding. Autistic individuals contact me all the time, expressing how invisible they feel or how uncomfortable engaging with other fans. Note, I'm not singling out the autistic community as the sole source of their discomfort. Before I even make my original comment, I have been surprised to see how much of that community were trashing me without expressing anything constructive. That's not the sort of thing most people would deal with. But I have people close to me who are similarly affected, so I deal with them on a daily basis. I don't talk about it, but maybe that's the wrong approach. Ken, people aren't trashing you because they're autistic. People are trashing you because you have shitty takes. It's not that hard. Your writing's bad, your art is even worse. Somebody said, is this the guy who drew the comics with the weird bug eyes and realistic teeth? Yeah. Oh boy. So yeah, it just gets worse. So, closing thoughts on this, he seems to think that all of his critics are autistic haters. And, then goes back and says that he doesn't hate autistic people, and then basically says, well, I like the autistic people who contacted me and are nice people. Either he's saying that because people have actually contacted him and he's covering his ass by saying, well, those people were fine, or he's making those people up and saying that he was contacted by autistic people because, like, genuinely, what the fuck? And, like, I know Kim Penders is, like, a fucking loony bin. Like, I don't even want to get started on, like, the rabbit hole that this, you know, and someday I will make, like, an organized, scripted video, which will be touching on all of it, everything. And, you know, not focusing as much on the like, legal stuff or the stuff he made. It's more like him as a person and just, like, all the things that he has done and just categorized, like, a comprehensive guide to every single fucking thing that is Kim Penders related, and just that's probably gonna take me like 6 months to a year to make, but I have plans to make a very detailed video about this man because he utterly fascinates me, and he's fucking awful. I hate him. I want to be clear. Like, I wouldn't have said that before. Like, I would have been like, okay, well, you know, I'm gonna give, like, the benefit of the doubt. Like, I have issues with him. But now it's like, no, dude, you fucking went there. You fucking said that your haters are autistic. You fucking went there. I'm just... I shouldn't be surprised. But this man manages to sink lower every single fucking day. We get farther from God. It's just tragic, isn't it? Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry to watch me go off on my shit for 29 minutes, but anyway, yeah, bye, I guess.